welcome to Foster English. Today I'm actually going to do a hopefully brief video that I wasn't initially planning on doing at all. But in thinking about where I want this channel to go, it is probably a good idea to have this as a resource available for all of the other things we're hoping to do. And today I just want to talk about words. And this is a precursor to my planned video, which is to talk about the 6 basic kinds of words. Really 7, but again, we'll get into that in the next video. Today, I want to go even more basic and just say, hey, you're here learning English. What is English? What are the building blocks of English? How do we get from letters to words? How do we define a word? So that's today. That's all we're going to do. And hopefully, if you're here, I can't imagine you'd be watching my videos and not have at least this much, but just in case, and just in case I'm able to somehow reach people with a lower level of English, here are the basics. The English language has 26 letters. 5 of those letters are vowels. Always vowels. Those are A, E, I, O, and U. 20 of those letters are consonants, and they are always consonants. And I'm not going to list them. They are the ones that are not A, E, I, O, U, or this last letter. Because if you're doing the math, we have 5 vowels, 20 consonants, and we have one that moves back and forth in between the two. And that's the letter Y. So the importance of understanding these 5 vowels plus 1, plus the letter Y, A, E, I, O, U, and sometimes Y, is that every single word in English requires at least one of these in order to be a word. Now, eventually, we'll maybe look at some of the patterns of vowels and how you can be better at, Scrabble or word searches and find patterns of letters that tend to go together, letters that tend not to go together, how many consonants you will generally find in a row, how many vowels you will generally find in a row together. These are all things that will help you sort of in your reading and especially your writing in terms of sounding things out, stuff like that. But as I said in the beginning, I don't want to get into phonics, or I don't want to get much smaller than words, so we're going to try and keep it here today. Every word in English requires at least one vowel in order to create. Now, we do have things that we write that don't have vowels. Generally, those would be onomatopoeias, which are essentially sounds or written or vocalized things that are self-defined as the sound that they are, right? That's a little complicated, but we're not going to be dealing much with those either. We're dealing with words. Words are the foundation of English. And the important thing to understand about words is that every word has meaning, or at least an intended meaning that can be shared with someone else. And so really, words are ideas, or little pieces of ideas in us that we attach to this series of sounds, or a sound in and of itself, or this series of letters, or a letter in and of itself. And with that being expressed, either in speaking or in writing, we have a reasonable expectation that it can be received and understood to have the same meaning that we are intending in terms of our expression. Hopefully that makes sense. Words are tools that we use to express ideas or to receive ideas. So those are words. And as I already told you, words are as small as we're going to go as a general rule. We will look at patterns in words and things like that. We already talked about it briefly. We'll expand about it as it's relevant. But words are the beginning of our scope. After words, we have phrases. Phrases are two or more words that go together to create one idea. Phrases are not sentences. Phrases do not create complete thoughts. They're not even clauses. After we have phrases, we have clauses. Clauses are groups of words that must include a noun and a verb together, that go together, and clauses can make sentences. But again, clauses themselves are not sentences. Sentences are complete thoughts. Now, there are times where a complete thought may be one word. We'll get into that down the road. But what we need to understand today are that words in English are comprised of letters, or again, in speech, they're comprised of sounds. The sounds we're not going to deal with as much as we are the writing or the letters involved. Every word in English must have at least one vowel, and included in the 5 vowels, A, E, I, O, and U, is the letter Y sometimes, which may or may not be used as vowel or a consonant. All of the other 20 letters are consonants, and you cannot have a word made up only of consonants. You can have sounds, you can express ideas sometimes with sounds in ways which are recognized. We're not going to be dealing with a lot of that. We'll probably do a video later on what they are, how we use them, why they are, but they don't really fit very well into sentences. They're usually something else altogether. We'll get there. Anyway, I did think this was important. Hopefully, once this is all edited and cut up, this will be a very brief video, and the information that had to get out there in terms of what words are is there, because I'm done. So, thank you. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to, well, not me seeing you right now, but you seeing me in the next video. So please, stay tuned.